having to act as my own cameraman, so I'm hoping that this works out because everybody has gone to bed. It is very, very early in the morning, and when it's early in the morning, then that's when the dark side comes out of me. But anyway, seriously though, I wanted to talk about the other dimensions. Oh my God! I mean, I could talk about this all day and all night. The other dimension. Woo! Let's talk. I have gone to dimensions and I have clubbed people until they just died. And afterwards just ate them. Now, y'all don't think I'm a bad person. I'm not a bad person. It's just something that occurred. You know, I'm still trying to figure out if these are past lives or what type of situations are these, because it's just so puzzling. What is what when it comes to astral traveling and past lives? I mean, I'm thinking that astral travels are very brief and unfamiliar. That's when I know I'm having an astral travel. But when I'm having a, say for instance, a past life experience, it's familiar. It's like after the experience, or during the experience, this feels familiar to me. I remember this. You know, you just start having this deja vu when it comes to past life situations. So you can sort of decipher which is which. Now, I've had an experience that I'm still dealing with, that I'm still trying to come up with some answers, because it was much different than any other travel I ever had. I actually had what you may call an experience with one of my YouTube subscribers. He was really, really different. I liked him a lot, and what I liked about him most is he spoke in riddles, and the speaking terms were sort of like, you remember American Lit? When you took American literature, sort of Shakespeare talk, like that was the way he spoke. And he came about as if though his soul was about a millennium of years old. And when we spoke, I kind of got a connection with him as if though we were together in a past life. I decided that I would do some astral traveling to meet this person, and they did not want that. They were like adamant about it. So I decided, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I got backed off a little bit. And I decided that we wouldn't do anything like that because he did not approve of it, you know. So, being that the fact I cannot control when I travel and where I travel because I have not mastered that yet, I had experienced that night. Well, let me tell you about the first experience I had with this particular entity, subscriber, person, whatever this is, whatever it is. I mean, I'm thinking that this person is a wizard. They wouldn't acknowledge that they were a wizard, but they did say they hated witches and warlocks. But anyway, the first experience I had with this particular entity, it was I was in the bed, and I was like between the sleep-wake stage, and this particular entity grabbed me around my stomach, and it was very uncomfortable, and they went further into it to have intercourse with me. Well, anyway, I can share this with you, YouTube subscribers, because I'm not going to give out any names and everything, and you all know that I'm going to talk about the paranormal. I have nothing to be ashamed of, because we all have something in common. We do believe in the paranormal, or I don't think that you would be, subscribed to this particular channel. And anyway, I was kind of frightened a little bit, because I was like, oh no, I don't want that. I couldn't see who the entity was and what the entity was, but it was like I was against my will participating in something, and then all of a sudden it was kind of like, this ain't half bad. What happened to us, I felt this sensation of falling backwards, like I was falling about 30, 40,000 feet below. I could feel the entity under me doing something to me, fondling me, or whatever. As we went further down as we descended, I could hear the torture of souls all around. I can hear it. And I look up and I can see it. It was like each soul was embedded in the mountains, like a cliff. It was like a canyon, and each rock was a soul, and it was on fire. And I could hear it, but I couldn't feel the fire sensation. And I could hear the tormentor tormenting the tormented, and it all came together into this great climax where I had this sexual experience, this thing that I've never experienced before, and it was so beautiful with this particular entity. Now, this particular person kind of led on to me as if though they remember the experience, and kind of talked about it a little bit, and I kind of had the feeling that they remembered it. I know they did. They remembered it. Okay. Anyway, after that experience, it happened again after the time we talked, and the person said, no, I don't want to meet up with you. It would be an intrusion, and I'm sure they would know the words for you to come here. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I won't do it. And in my heart and my mind, I did not want to do it. Somehow, we wound up in this old castle with stone walls. And I came upon this person, and this person did not want me to see them. And they were like surprised, like, what are you doing here? You knew you were not supposed to come here. And believe me, I did not try to go there. I guess it was something in my spirit that wanted to be there. And they were doing something. I'm not going to talk about what they were doing, but I'm going to tell you how it wound up. I took flight. It took flight behind me. And I noticed that it had a long sword with a point on the end. And I'm not into medieval, but I'm more fascinated with it now after it happened. And they came behind me with a sword with a point on it. And I flew for my life. And as I flew, I looked and I noticed that I had long jet black stringy hair, and that my skin was porcelain white. And I had this black shawl on me. And the entity itself had a thing over its face, like a shield. And as I got myself to the huge ballroom, and I call it this thing, an infirmary, was like a huge audience watching he and I. And he was armed as he went for me with his sword, and I had no protection, and I went black. That was the end of that. And anyway, that following day, this particular person, as we chatted online, confirmed the story. Told me exactly what happened, and he knows exactly who he is. And that's what happened. I'm not calling any names at all, but it happened. But after the experience, I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm going to write a book on it too, because it took me to a place I've never gone. It was very exciting. And it was not, I wouldn't think it was anything that I could make up or anything, because a lot of the things I saw in this particular time period I've never seen before. I would say it was 1,000 years back. Old Europe is what one of my subscribers helped me to come up with. And one other thing, because I know I'm running out of time on the camera, one other thing that interested me a lot, it was like in a Celtic type culture. Celtic. And now I'm more fascinated with Celtic type culture more than ever, but here's the thing that I wanted to say about this, and I'll be back in just a sec. Give me a minute.